Hey guys, welcome to Scottsdale Living. Today this is gonna be a ton of fun. First off, got a blast. We've got a Scottsdale plastic surgeon, Dr. Richard Day Brown, Dr. Ricky.
Yep, or Ricky.
So surgeon here in Scottsdale, and also a TikTok stud, right? Can we go with TikTok stud?
Sure.
7.5 million followers, all kinds of cool stuff going on.
Yeah.
So, dude, how do you get to Scottsdale?
The way I ended up here was when I was finishing up my plastic surgery training in Nebraska. My wife went to NAU, and we were just trying to figure out where we wanted to end up in the country. And I knew I wanted warm weather.
Sure.
I did not.
Totally.
I grew up
Some Nebraska winters.
Yeah, Nebraska winters were not good.
Yeah.
And I was in Chicago for about 10 years. So
Sure.
we came out to visit and met a guy that ended up joining shortly before he retired, actually. And that's how easily it happened.
Oh, wow. So just came out right after school.
Yeah, I came out after residency,
Okay.
After plastics training, and we came out here to visit. And I was like, yeah, this town seems pretty cool. Like I could get down with this weather. And
I mean,
it's
for
that
plastic
simple.
surgery, it's probally a pretty good location, right?
Yeah.
I mean, next to like Beverly Hills or something. I'm
Depends
sure
how
it's
you
up there.
look at it. There's a lot of us, but no,
Yeah.
it is. It's a good place.
Yeah, no doubt. So you're now, how long have you been here?
We came in 2009.
Oh, wow, man. So you got a little time behind you.
Yep.
So you've dealt with the summer thing. You got the
Yeah.
process
Oh, yeah.
down.
I've been through a bunch of summers.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. I feel like my blood is starting to change because now in the wintertime, I used to embrace this weather.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's a little cold here right now.
Right? It's crazy,
It's
isn't
not
it?
even close to
It's
cold.
like 120 is cool.
I know.
No problem.
Yeah.
But 62? Come on, man.
Yeah,
Killing
no,
me.
the summer's not that bad. I mean, it's bad,
Yeah,
but it's livable. It's doable. There's no perfect place.
Totally. So tell me a little bit about you. I know you got twin boys. Is that
I
right?
do, yeah.
How old are they now?
They just turned 15.
Oh, dude. Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go. That's
it's
not a bad
crazy.
age for boys, though, right?
No, they're awesome. My boys are amazing.
Yeah.
They're great. And of course my wife is too. But so we moved here. My wife was pregnant
Sure.
and started my practice, joined a guy who was really kind of just an older guy looking for someone to take care of his
Sure.
patients.
Kind of step in.
And I stepped in and we had a little office sharing thing, had an office down off Osborne.
Sure.
And like a year later, he was like, I'm done. I'm
Wow.
retiring. It's all yours.
Dude,
Like,
that worked
what do you-
out pretty good.
What do you want to keep?
Yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
you don't want to keep, we'll sell.
Right.
And that was it.
Yeah. So what's the process like? So he's out all of a sudden. It's got to be a little scary, right? I mean, you're 1 year out of school and it's like, dude, I got the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just intimidating, I think, more
Sure.
than scary. The scariest part was right when I got out, right? Like the first time I
Yeah.
stood at the scrub sink
Yeah.
by myself and there just kind of looked around like,
Yeah.
there's
Like,
no one
oh,
here to
this
help
is
me.
legit.
This is on me.
Yeah. Right.
But that first year was kind of that way. And you gain your confidence as you sort of move
Sure.
through taking care of patients and things go well.
Sure.
You realize, okay, I got this. And then when he stepped away, it's a little weird, right? Because
Yeah.
you're an entrepreneur running a solo practice and it's 2009 and the market's crashing and things
Yeah,
are
yeah.
crazy.
World's going nuts.
And the world was going nuts, but it's all worked out. God's willing. It's been really nice and everything's worked out and I'm still solo.
Sure.
And eventually that may change, but everything has been really amazing.
So we have a ton of small business or business owners in general that come on and talk. Tell us a little bit about so you've got what you do as a plastic surgeon,
Mhm.
right? But you're also a business owner.
Yeah.
So you got to operate and run. I mean, the financials, that whole different thing. How do you handle that? I mean, do you outsource it or do you do some of that stuff yourself? or
Some
what's the
stuff you
process?
do, some stuff you don't. Like in the beginning, I was keeping my own QuickBooks.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
kind of doing my own accounting and I had taken some business classes because I wasn't always going to be a doctor. I didn't
Sure.
know that's what I wanted to do. So I was pre-business for a while. And yeah, man, it's a lot. It is a lot. You learn as you go.
Sure.
It is what it is. It's trial and error for a lot of it. But it's been really good. I think one thing I knew about myself was that I wasn't going to work for someone else. I
Yeah.
think from the medical perspective, the options are to join a hospital or join a big group and you sort of enter into the corporate world of medicine.
Sure.
And for me, I just didn't want to be told how to take care of patients.
Right.
So with that came becoming an entrepreneur and just having to figure it out.
100%. So as part of that, so you're 1 year in, you got this basic clients. Where do you get new business from? Right.
Yeah, so I spent probably the first 8 to 10 years traveling out to the West Valley. So
Okay.
my guy, the guy that I joined, Dr. Height, had sort of built up a really good skin cancer reconstructive practice in the
Okay.
West Valley. So he was going out to Surprise. He was working with the Mohs surgeon. He did a lot of cosmetic surgery in his office. He had his own little OR.
Sure.
And so as I came in, he started to sort of pushed me towards some of that reconstructive work out in the West Valley.
Sure.
And I became really good friends with the Mohs surgeon and did good work for her. And so she just started feeding me those cases.
Sure.
And then I got into my breast cancer aspect of reconstructive work, and that sort of built over time. And I think the natural progression for most of us is when that happens, some of those reconstructive patients are like, hey, I want to get a tummy tuck. Like, do you do that too?
Yeah.
And so you start getting your feet wet in cosmetics stuff a little bit. And it just grows and grows and grows from there. You do a good job. You treat people well.
Sure.
The rest just happens.
So a little side note, like I was chatting with my wife today about who's going to be on the podcast, and she gave me this whole list of stuff, looking to see if she could get kind of a deal on this. And I was like, I don't think so, but I'll throw it out there. We'll see what happens. So talk to me about the social media aspect of it, right? So, 7.5 million followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
So Instagram's solid too. Obviously it's been building for a while, right?
Yeah. Instagram's probably the slowest growing one because specifically several years ago, they just started to shadow ban all of the beauty industry stuff.
Yeah.
And so I can't really show what I want to show. And really that's what pushed me to TikTok in 2019. So I got onto TikTok early 2019 and started to grow there. There weren't many doctors there. And I kind of grew to like 100,000 or so. And then they reached out to me and they're like, hey, we'd love for you to enter into our creator program.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what does that mean?
Right.
And they're like, well, that means that you'll have like a representative that you can talk to here. They'll help you grow your page. So when I had that conversation, I sort of asked, I was like, hey, I've noticed I'd seen a few cardiologists doing some catheter stuff and some blood. And I'm like, are we allowed to show blood? Like, is that okay? And he was like, you can show surgery as long as there's no nudity. Like it's no holds bar, like go for it.
Right.
So that is where my page took off because I started bringing people into the OR, showing them what surgery looked like. Here's how we do a tummy tuck. Here's how we tighten the muscles. Here's how we put an implant in, just bringing people into the OR. And those videos were getting 5 million views, 10 million views, 12 million views. It was insane. And my page grew hard and fast. And then around 21, I think they cut off graphic content. And my page kind of came to a screeching halt. So I've maintained the followers that I have.
Right.
And it's been great, but it's changed a lot and the landscape has changed a lot. But
so it's not really a huge business driver anymore. It's just kind of.
It is. No, I still get a tremendous amount of business off of Instagram as well as TikTok. And I think part of that is I'm just an authentic guy.
Yeah.
And so my modus there operandum is to just educate and inspire people, to teach them, to bring them into the world of what I do, to help people not get botched. So I'm always on my stories, answering questions, talking to people, getting in the DMs. And that has been very fruitful for me. I bring probably, 20 to 30% of my business comes through social media.
Oh man, that's
if not more.
Yeah. So many businesses absolutely love that. So you mentioned something outside before we came in that you're not afraid to say no.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Talk about that a little bit, right?
Yeah. Listen, I think we live in this world now where cosmetic surgery has been so at the forefront with social media, right? It's everywhere. And we see celebrities and we see all this crazy stuff. And I think most of the world thinks that every plastic surgeon does what they see presented in Hollywood. And the fact of the matter is that's not the lion's share of us. Most of us really want to do what's right for people. We don't do extreme things. And so if I have a patient that comes in that clearly maybe still has some weight to lose in order to obtain the best tummy tuck result that they can get. And I sit and talk to them and explain to them why now is not the right time. I'm not afraid to say no. I don't want to do something that's going to harm someone or not give them the absolute best result that they're putting their hard-earned money out to have me perform for them. So I'm not afraid to keep it real with patients. And I tell them now is not the time. This is not no, but now is not the time. So, and I do that all the time.
So what's that process look like? Somebody reaches out to you with an idea of what they want or what they need. Obviously if it's the reconstructive part, it's a little different thing, right?
Yeah.
But when they reach out to you, so how do you handle that? You just come in, they get a consultation?
So people call, they come in for a consult, and we sit and I kind of know what they're here for or what they're coming to me for before I walk in the room. And then we just kind of sit and I get to know patients, pretty briefly for the first few minutes, just small talk. And then we talk about the procedures and we talk about, what are the things that might sabotage you from obtaining the best result possible? And why are you doing it? Is this the right time? Is this for you? Is this for someone else? So I'm sort of a psychiatrist with a knife, they say, right? Like I'm really, not only am I trying to help people feel the best they can feel in their body, but it's also my job to really assess their mental health and where are they? And is this right for you? Are you doing this for the right reasons? I don't know that a lot of surgeons think that way. I don't think I'm the only one that does that. but I'm probably rare. But there are definitely other surgeons that approach it that way.
So I'm gonna throw you a little curveball because like one of my favorite topics in talking to business owners, how did COVID impact you and in your business?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. That was a tough time
Yeah.
because they shut down elective surgery.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was still heavily into reconstructive work too. But I was still going to the hospital to do breast cancer work at that time.
Sure.
I mean, after we kind of figured out the ventilator issues, they still allowed us to come in to do that stuff. But, you know, I literally had to close my office. And as a solo practitioner, you know, your overhead still runs,
Yeah.
but the bank account is not being filled.
Right.
And so that was really, really a tough time. And I tried to pay everyone the best that I could for as long as I could. We survived. It was
Sure.
rough, and it definitely was a tough time. When I came back from COVID, when we were able to go back in 21, was probably the busiest I've ever been.
Yeah.
People really weren't working yet, but they were
Sure.
still at home, and we were allowed to operate and do
Yeah.
cosmetic procedures. I mean, we
Built up demand,
we were
right?
off the chain busy. I mean,
Yeah.
it was pretty insane, but there was a good probably 8 to 10 months that were pretty scary.
Yeah, and that was a stressful thing for like everybody, right?
Yeah.
Especially small business owners. So what did you do with staff, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I tried to keep people in the office as much as I could.
Sure.
And then we had to furlough, right? That was
Yeah, I think it was furlough.
we
Yeah.
we furloughed for a little while. I mean, look, the bottom line was I didn't want to drain my bank account
Sure.
so that when we did come back, there was nothing there. So I tried to carry them as long as I could and support them. And then for a short amount of time, we had to furlough and people had to kind of, you know, look for some revenue from the government aid. But it wasn't that long.
Right.
And then when we got back and got busy, I was able to get right back where I was.
Bring it right back to
It was hard though, man.
Yeah, I know,
That
right?
was tough.
It was mentally hard. It was monetarily hard.
Yeah,
It was
because
like,
look, I love my employees. They're great. We have such an incredible group of people,
Sure.
and they work hard for me. And I try to do everything I can to not let them down. But I just didn't want to destroy the business and drain the account and have
Sure.
nothing left when we came back.
Sure. So how do you do that, like you personally within your business? Because culture is everything, right? So I
Mhm.
mean, how do you build the culture with your employees in your business?
I think part of it is just who I am
Sure.
and trying to push them to be individually the best that they can be. I mean, my general rule and thing that I try to preach to them is I'm excited that you're here to work for me, and I'm
Sure.
excited for you to be the best that you can be, but you have to show up for you every day.
Mhm.
You're coming to this business to be the best for you because at some point I'm going to retire.
Right.
And you're going to go work somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
Because you guys are all pretty young. And so my goal is for you to leave my job, my place of business, feeling like you are equipped to step up and take the next level of your life to the next level to whatever
Sure.
it is you're trying to do. So I try to cultivate that culture and look in a business that's full of women working for you.
Yeah.
It can be very hard, but we have a really good group. We
Yeah.
really do. We struggled for about a year or so after COVID.
Sure.
We couldn't keep anyone.
Oh wow.
No one, I mean, people just didn't
So what
wanna-
was the reason? They just didn't want to
People
work.
just didn't want to work. I mean,
Wow,
the
yeah.
attitude towards working was
Yeah.
really rough. But we have finally, I feel like we have like really settled into a pretty incredible group, and I love everybody, and they're doing a great job.
That's killer. So
Yeah.
you've mentioned a couple times like breast cancer reconstructive
Mhm.
surgery. Would you say that's kind of like a forte, or is that a big thing for you still today?
Yeah, it's not as big for me today, and I'll tell you why.
Sure.
It's huge though. I mean, it really all of what I brought forth from my reconstructive breast surgery days carries into my cosmetic stuff because I do a lot of botched revisionary breast
Sure.
cosmetic surgery. And so all the principles of reconstruction that I've learned doing my breast cancer stuff has really helped a lot. The reason that I'm not as heavily into breast reconstruction now, and this is really sad,
Uh-huh.
being a solo practitioner, insurance companies don't pay us.
Mm.
They really don't pay us well at all. And I have the same contracts for reimbursement
Right.
that I had from 2009. We spent years trying to write letters to the insurance companies to get better reimbursement for the procedures that we do. And literally it got to the point where I was paying them to take care of patients.
Yeah.
And it just didn't make sense as a solo practitioner in business to continue operating at kind of a negative on those patients.
Sure.
And I love taking care of those patients.
Well, it's got to be a great feeling too.
It
right?
is. It's an
Yeah.
incredible feeling. And I mean, I really get the same feeling from cosmetic patients too.
Sure.
But I think what's just really hard for me is I really enjoy taking care of those patients. And I think the world at large just doesn't understand that our altruism sort of gets taken advantage of, that
Sure.
while we love people and we want to take care of people, medicine is a business. If you don't
Yeah.
make money, you don't keep
Yeah.
the lights on. I have to make money
Yeah.
to pay my staff and to function.
Yeah.
So the insurance business just really broke me down, and I just had to stop doing it.
And you might have heard that so many times from different practitioners.
yeah.
It's just brutal,
It's
right?
brutal, man. It is so brutal. And we're in it right now, right?
Yeah.
Like all the things that are happening, and that guy getting killed from murdered was just
Oh, yeah.
insane. I
Yeah.
mean, it was sad, but
I mean, the responses on social media that were off the hook too. Like the people are like, "Oh, he had to." It's like that's ridiculous.
it's horrible, dude.
Right?
It's horrible. But I don't think that there's a practitioner on the planet
No,
that
it
would
didn't
say
get
to
it,
you that they don't understand, that they understand why it
Oh, yeah,
happened.
totally.
People are mad, and violence is never the answer. But I can understand that the system has really screwed people over
Oh, the
so
anger level is
hard.
insane.
It's insane, right? So I mean, it's really something that hopefully will change. And I wish that I could still be doing it. I mean, and I'll do some pro bono stuff now and again.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, do you see any type of solution to that whole thing? I mean, what could be different, right?
I don't know. I think the power has been given to the insurance companies to do whatever they want and deny whatever they want. And I think that there's a lot that needs to be done. But from my perspective, some of the things that would be helpful is when we submit a claim, they have 90 days to pay us.
Sure.
If they find one thing in that claim that's wrong or coded wrong, they can kick the claim back.
Oh,
and
the
they
whole
get,
thing.
And they get another 90 days after that.
Wow.
So what ends up happening is you're kicking the bucket down the road to get paid for a procedure you did 6 months ago. And then they pay you a measly $2,000 for a person you're taking care of for over a year.
Sure.
And it just becomes not worth it. So I think they really need to sort of hold insurance companies more accountable, not give them such loose guidelines to reject claims, and make them accountable, make it hurt for them. If you don't pay by X, then you owe them 2 times what you owe them or something, you know, and making them really work with solo practitioners like myself to give us better contracts to take care of.
I mean, they can literally almost just kind of wait you out. Or
they can do whatever they
right?
want.
Yeah.
And you know what happened was way back in the 70s and the 80s, doctors were miscoding and they were being criminal with that. So the power swung towards insurance, but now they've taken it so far out of control that literally doctors can't see patients and make money unless they see 50 in a day.
Sure.
And that's not good for the patients.
Oh, without a doubt, right? They're just turning numbers at that point.
So I don't know the true answer, but a lot of it is going to be tort reform.
Sure.
And then there's got to be a lot of things that happen to re-give some of the power back to the docs.
Sure. So swinging back a little bit to being here in Scottsdale since 2009, is that right?
Yeah.
So you guys love it? I mean, this is the place you want to be?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, look, there's no perfect place to live.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed living here. I will say that the plastic surgery community here, the other doctors that I know and work with are amazing people. We cover for each other when we go out of town. There are a lot of guys that and women who are just incredible colleagues of mine. So I've really enjoyed working here. I think it's a great town as far as outdoor activity. I'm a really active guy. So I've really enjoyed it. And obviously the clientele is here. So
what are you doing? You out hiking or biking, or what's your thing?
I do a little bit of everything. So my wife and I do like to hike. We're outdoorsy people. Do some jujitsu.
Nice.
Gotten into that a couple of years ago. CrossFit is kind of my mainstay for exercise. That's what I like to do. But anything that has to do with outside. And I was a pretty avid golfer for a long time.
Yeah.
But when my boys were born, I just kind of stopped playing because I didn't want to be on the course for 4 to 6 hours
or 8 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It gets a little crazy.
So, but anything outdoors, like we're all into outdoors. My wife and I are both.
Sure. So it's such a huge tourist destination. Do you is it a medical tourist destination?
Oh yeah.
You see some of that?
Oh, I see people fly in from all over the country to see us. I mean, and that's not, I'm not.
Oh, you can brag a little bit. Heck yeah, man. They're coming to see you.
Social media has made that happen.
Yeah.
I mean, because of my presence on social media, people will literally message me and be like, hey, listen, I'm not going to anyone else but you when I'm done having my kids. So I want to ask you some questions, via DM. And then they fly into town to see me for consults and we do the operations.
So that's kind of wild talking about that. So who handles the correspondence off your social media?
I do.
Oh, do you really?
I do everything.
Dude, so that's got to take a little bit of time.
I mean, Sam helps me with a lot of stuff.
Sam's over here.
Sam's over here. Sam runs the Brown Plastic Surgery page. So she's been instrumental in helping me in the OR, getting content, things like that. And she'll tell you when it comes to the day-to-day stuff on my page, I'm in my DMs answering questions and she'll get the DMs on the Brown Plastic Surgery page and say, hey, can you go answer a couple of these questions? So we tag team it. But I mean, largely everything you see on my page is me. I edit my videos and we're trying to change that now. But in that way, I will tell you, it becomes a more authentic experience for patients, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, if there's some
right?
robot answering questions, that's not good.
When you
And-
see the DM and there's a media response, it's like, oh, what can we do for you? You know, that kind of stuff.
exactly. And at times they'll be like, is this Dr. Brown? I'm like, yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, this is me. Like, what?
People got to love that.
Yeah, I try to answer your question for you. So, and there are plenty of times where a random person will DM me and just say, hey, I have a quick question. What do you think about this? And I'll answer them. They'll go, cool. How do I make an appointment in your office?
You send like a Cash App link or something.
Right now. So, and when that happens, you know, we have a system where I just kind of tell my coordinator, hey, here's a contact that I saw on Instagram and they want to have a consult, and we'll do virtual consultations for people that are out of town. And then we do the in-person stuff, obviously, here.
I love it. So was the 36-hour TikTok being done a little stressful?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. I'll tell you why. And TikTok is probably going to go away in my opinion.
Yeah.
It sucks because I have 7.7 million followers there. Right. Here's the thing. I made a video about
throw the handle out there while we got that 7.7
It's
million.
the real TikTok doc.
There you go. Love it.
So I made a video after that happened. I got on Instagram because people were freaking out and losing their minds and talking about how their businesses were going to go down. And so this is a business tip for everybody. The gist of the video that I made was, if you have poured your entire business into TikTok and that is the sole revenue generator for you, you've made a big mistake.
Yeah.
And I was like, and no one wants to see it stay more than me. I have 7.7 million followers on there. They've been great to me. I love my community there. I have fun there. I get patients from there. I have friends from there. But if it goes away tomorrow, it's just an app. And I have a whole other aspect to my business to keep my business afloat. And so while it's stressful and it sucks to work so hard on something like that, it is what it is, man. Like at any moment, any of these apps could go away in a millisecond. And so you have
MySpace,
you have to
rocking that one.
Man, you gotta have multiple streams of revenue and you have to have multiple marketing opportunities. So yeah.
So how do you approach social media as a whole? Like, are you going to all platforms, you know, as far as YouTube, Facebook?
I do,
Instagram,
So, I mean, I put all my short form content on every platform. So it's on Facebook, Meta, it's on all the Meta platforms. YouTube is at 1 million now. We finally hit 1 million. I'm waiting for my gold button.
Killer, man. Nice.
And then on TikTok. So I kind of cross post everywhere. I'm at a crossroads right now because I'm burned out. Doing it all on my own. It's time to get someone to help me.
It's a lot, dude. I mean, to get where you got, it's a lot.
It's a lot. And I don't really do a lot of long form on YouTube, which I would like to do. So I'm actively now in the process of trying to find someone to help me record content, someone to help me edit it, just to get the flow going better. Cause literally I will day to day make a video. What am I going to make today?
Well, it's funny because that was going to be my question. Is there like somebody that's strategizing behind the scenes that's kind of guiding it?
It's me. Mostly what happens now, because I do a lot of reactionary content because you can't show surgery. And the second I start to talk about a boob job, they just push it down and they won't let it go through.
Do they really? They're pushing down boob
jobs?
Yeah,
they won't. We can't talk about any of that stuff. So most of what I do today is just general medical reaction content. So people will send me a video and say, hey, what do you think about this? And I'm like, oh, that's a good one. I could make a really good teaching video out of this. So people will send me the videos and I kind of piecemeal together the idea in my brain of what I want to do. And I just make it and put it up.
I love it. So let's switch bases really quick. What's your favorite place to go out to eat in Scottsdale?
Oh, man.
That's a tough one, right? There's so many, dude.
Oh, God. What is my favorite restaurant? I mean, I will say forever it was Mastro's because I love their steaks.
So which one? The one up north?
City Hall.
Okay.
Because I love their steaks. And then what's the Buck and Ryder.
Buck and Ryder.
Ryder. I love Buck and Ryder. Oceans 44 is great. Buck and Ryder.
Buck and Ryder happy hours off the hook, right?
Love Buck and Ryder. So great. I love their appetizers. They have great food. So we love Buck and Ryder. But I'll tell you, my wife and I, while we love food and we love to go out, we're health nuts. We make our food mostly, especially as expensive it is now.
It's crazy,
It's ridiculous, right? So we make a lot of our food at home. We do that with our boys because it's fun and we engage in that with them and they love to cook. So we do a lot of eating in. We don't eat out as much as we used to.
Dude, so how does the work-life balance work, right? I mean, because you want to be home with the wife and the kids, but I mean, in your job, I'm sure it's a lot of hours, a lot of, the whole thing going on.
There is no balance. So what I tell people, there's no such thing as balance. There's only imbalance. And that goes for any job that you want to be good at. There's a little bit of imbalance. But what I'll say is earlier in my career, it was more weighted towards work, do these operations, work hard, build a clientele. And now that I have a steady flow of word of mouth in town and people know who I am, it's shifted a little bit more towards,
Sure.
hey, I don't have to, I'm good at the operations. I know how to do these surgeries. I'm really good at what I do.
Well, and the phone's ringing, so you're not stressed out about that.
And it's not always ringing, but my point is, the skill of surgery is not the issue for me now.
Sure.
I know how to do the procedures and do a good job at them. And so that allows me to spend more time with my wife and my boys doing things, and we do jujitsu together. And
Sure.
so it's, I don't think there's really any true balance when you're trying to be really good at something.
Especially as an entrepreneur.
But what you have to do is you skew the time towards the skill you're trying to learn and what you're trying to build.
Sure.
And then the lesser time that you have with the other people has to be high quality.
Yeah.
So it had to be,
count.
it's high quality time when I'm with my family. And I don't get pulled away as much as I used to.
Sure.
But yeah, there's no real balance.
I know. It gets out of whack, right?
Yeah.
Sure. So give us all your handles. How do people get a hold of you? How do they find you?
So if you want to find me on Instagram, it's Dr. Richard J. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, is the real TikTok doc. I think I'm at Dr. Ricky on YouTube. I tried to put the same handle everywhere and I can't do it because I can't get them. And the real TikTok doc, I can't give up.
Right.
But those are my 3 main platforms. If people want to find me on those platforms, you can get to me on any of those. And I really mostly answer my Instagram DMs.
Beautiful. So that's Dr. Richard J. Brown, plastic surgeon here in Scottsdale. Just absolutely great guy, man. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks for the time.
For the conversation.